screen is visible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. So, assessment of non-filer of returns. This is section 62. So I tell you that what is the returns? While studying yesterday, I found that there are only three returns. There are only three returns. One is under section 39. 39 number monthly or quarterly returns. This is under 39. Other is under section 44. 44 is, just a minute. Second is under section 44. So 44, as we all know, it is an annual return. So it's an annual return. After that, one more return is there. That is under section 45. And this is final return. So, am I right in saying that there are only three returns in the GST, sir? 39, 44, and 45.
Yes, sir.
Yes, three returns in the GST. And no, it's section 62. Heading is assessment of non-filer of returns. So that is a section. Let's go to the section. Yes. So this is section. I think screen is visible to everybody. So
Yes,
it's assessment of non-filer of returns. So what 62 says, 62 starts with a non-abstained clause. Notwithstanding anything to the contrary contained in section 73, 74 or 74A. So this starts with non-abstained clause. And what is this? This non-abstained clause says that we don't have to follow the rigorous provision of 73, 74, 74A. We don't have to follow that lengthy provisions, lengthy procedures, which is prescribed in 73, 74, or 74A. So what is that procedure? There, first, we have to issue a DRC-01A. Then the proper officer has to issue this show cause notice. Then the proper officer has to give us a opportunity for personal hearing. Then after that, he will pass an order. And then demand will be created. But here in section 62, as I read it further, we will find something unique. It is the only section where a statute provides that principles of natural justice need not to follow. This is a very, very, I think this must be the only case in GST, if RPG agree with me, that here is a case where principle of natural justice is not, proper officer is not bound to follow principle of natural justice. No, I read the section. So not to say anything to the contrary contained in 73, 74, 74A, where a registered person fails to furnish the return under section 39 or section 45. So, sir, here is an important thing, that non-filing of annual return, which is under section 44, that non-filing will not trigger this section 62. This is very important. So only two returns. One is monthly or quarterly GSTR 3B, and the other is GSTR 10, which is section 45 final return. Okay. After that, he says that even after the service of a notice under section 46. So there is a section 46 which says that a notice to be issued to the non-filer of return. So I take you to section 46. So here 46. it says where a registered person fails to furnish a return under section 39 or section 44 or section 45, a notice shall be issued requiring him to furnish such return within 15 days. This is very important. So period of notice is only 15 days. It is not more, not less. Okay, so here we can say that 46 notice can be issued to even for non-filing of annual return also, but this annual return non-filing will not trigger to section 62. Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. No, section 62. So here, so what happens? He says that even after the service of a notice under section 46, so we have to take the meaning that after 15 days of serving of notice under section 46, which is given in form GSTR 3A. That form is called GSTR 3A. That form is issued and it will give us a 15 days time as per the statute. And after that 15 days, if return is not filed, the proper officer may proceed to assess the tax liability of the said person to the best of his judgment, taking into account all the relevant material which is available or which he has gathered. So this is very important. So here the proper officer is allowed to assess as per his best of his judgment. But he has to take into account all the relevant material which is available or which he has gathered, and after doing this, he will issue an assessment order. So then he has to do his best of his judgment from the material on record, and then he has to issue an assessment order within a period of 5 years. So it is within a period of 5 years from the date specified under section 44 for furnishing of the annual return for the financial year to which the tax not paid relates. So this is very important. This time limit is akin to section 74 time limit. Section 74, as we all know, that section 74 also provides 5 years period from the date specified under section 44. So there are no three things are clear here. First thing is that return non-filing of return should be GSTR 3B or GSTR 10. Then it has not been filed within 15 days. Then he has power to issue the assessment order according to his best judgment. And this time period for making this assessment is 5 years. It's a very huge time period, 5 years from the date specified in 44. But normally we see that officer pass the order within 1 month only, or within 15 days, 30 days. That is, I think, a dangerous trend. They does not give proper opportunity to the assessee. Because at the end of the day, we can see that only 15 days time is given. Only 15 days time is given. And after that, there is no notice to him. And so this is 62(1). In 62 subsection 1, I will deliberate on this first, that how the assessment is to be made, how it is to be done. So there is a standard operating procedure here. Standard operating procedure.
Sir, hello.
Yes.
Now, one thing I would like to have your views on in section 62 and all the other members also, that when you have read through section 46, he says that one who fails to furnish a return the section 39, 44 and 45. So then a notice has to be issued under, notice would be issued under section 46 and the return has to be filed within 15 days, and otherwise the assessment would be carried out under section 62. Now, how to interpret that word fails? Because section 46 is not speaking about fails to furnish the return by the due date. Now, as we all know that there is a time limit of 3 years for filing of the return. So
Yes, yes.
should we treat that failure now linked with the final date, that is 3 years, or should we treat it as a, see, this is an alternative argument. The simplest argument would be that the due date, the return not filed by the due date is a failure to file the return. But I would like, when there are two dates, one is the due date and second is the cutoff date beyond which I am not allowed. And during that period, that failure is allowed to be condoned by way of filing or by way of payment of a late fees. So can we now take an argument, alternative argument, that this section 62 should only be allowed to operate post 3 years, because until then there is no failure, because law provides me an opportunity to regularize that failure by way of payment of late fees.
Nicely said. This point I have already studied, Arpit ji. Here, there are Madras High Court judgment, Andhra Pradesh High Court judgment are there, which says that you cannot take away the right to file his return. Because if he has not filed by giving a 15 days notice, because he can, in that judgment, Honorable High Court has said that that day, timing for filing the return for 5 years. So, person could have filed the return up to 5 years. No, it is 3 years. No, it is a statute that after 3 years I will not be able to file the return. But up to 3 years, that time limit, once he passes ASMT 13, he debars me from filing the return, and he takes my rightful right away. That is a point. This argument should be taken in the court. This argument is very, very important, very aptly pointed out, sir.
Yes, so that Madras High Court judgment which allowed 5 years to file the return,
Yes,
and
yes,
at that time there was no limit for
There was
cutoff
no
date
limit.
for filing. Now that there is 3 years
3
time
years,
limit,
3 years.
we can take and secondly, sir, whether we should interpret it that once an order has been passed under section 62, whether and I am not able to file my return, say within 60 plus 60 days, whether section 62 states that I would not be allowed to file the return for that particular period subsequently. If it does not say,
sir, I will come to that.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
I will cover this at the end, sir. These are very, very important points. Section 62 is really playing a havoc with the taxpayers. They're really in a soup, because the small taxpayers who are not able to track their portal and all those things, there are demands are there, sir. And I will come to that. Okay,
sir. Okay.
Anyway. So no, I was coming to circular number 129/48/2019. This circular gives us the circular is
visible, sir. Visible.
Okay. This circular is 129. This gives the standard operating procedure for notice to the defaulter under 46 and then 62. So here, important thing is that I give you, so it gives that there is a timeline of 3 days before the due date. So they say that system generated message to nudge you to file the return will be given 3 days before the due date. One thing is it. Then another notice will come to you. Notice me. SMS. These are SMS. Sorry, sir. Not notice, SMS. The second SMS will come to you T plus 5 days. Due date plus 5 days. Within that 5 days, again, he will give you. And after that notice, GSTR 3A will be issued. This is a very harsh thing, sir. Very, very harsh thing. And here I tell you, this is the only provision I have seen where principal natural justice is not followed. And this circular also empowers. He take cognizance of this thing, that you need not to do give any other notice, because there is one notice is ASF GST 3A, simply saying that please file the return within 15 days. Okay. After that, when GST ASMT 13 or DR07 is to be issued, there is no notice at all, sir. There is no notice at all. This is a very harsh provision. There should have been a second notice also, that I am going to take these things into consideration, and I am going to assess you. If you have to say anything, you can give your reply within 30 days or 40 days, something like that. So there should have been. Here, sir, this natural justice is missing, sir. Here it's missing. Other thing is that one more important thing they have said in this circular, that what this for the purpose of assessment tax liability. I am reading, sir, this one. He's saying that he has to take into account the details of outward supplies available in the statement, like GST 1, and detail of supplies auto-populated in form GST 2A. The information available from e-way bills or any other information available from any other source. What I have seen, the State Department does not take anything into consideration. They are just making the assessments haywire without considering anything. Anyway, so this is the SOP for that. Any query regarding this, sir, or should I proceed?
Yes, sir.
Okay, sir. Okay. No. After this SOP, so this is, they have given us a provision. Just a minute. Okay. So here, after this, I will again go to section 46. This. No, I think subsection 1 is clear to everybody. For the sake of repetition, I will say that it's only GSTR 3B or GSTR 10 non-filing. Then there has to be a notice of GSTR 3A under section 46. There were cases also in the High Court where the section 46 notice was not given, but the ASMT 13 was issued. There was a case here, and but I think normally GSTR 3A is a system generated notice. This goes to everybody normally. No, coming to subsection 2, this is very, very important. This is very, very important. So subsection 2 says, where the registered person furnishes a valid return within 60 days. Earlier, sir, it was 30 days. 60 days have been incorporated with effect from 1st October 23. So, where the registered person furnishes a valid return within 60 days of the service of the assessment order. No, here it is a date we have to take of the ASMT 13. Assessment order ki date say 60 days. The said assessment order shall be deemed to have been withdrawn. This is very, very important, sir. So here is an order which gets withdrawn automatically. Nothing to be done. So it will be deemed as withdrawn. Okay. What the liability for payment of interest and late fee shall continue. So this is, sir, very, very important. So this is also an argument to be taken in the courts. I will come to that also later. No, there is a proviso inserted with effect on 1st October 23, which says, simply says, that if you fails to file within those 60 days of subsection 2, then you can file it behind another 60 days. But here you have to pay late fee of rupees 100 per day from the 61st day till the date of filing. So here it is a small condition of 100 rupees per day additional fee, and if you pay that, then you can file the return within 120 days of the order. So that is very, very important provision. So this is section 62, 1 and 2. So no, I come to so here one important point is that these words, valid return. So here he uses the words valid returns. This valid return. So a return which has to be filed after assessment order ASMT 13, it has to be a valid return. So what is the valid return, sir? It is subsection 117 of section 2 defines valid return. I will come to that. Valid return. So valid return, I will take you to the valid return. Section 2, 117. This is a valid return. This is a valid return, sir. Valid return means a return furnished under subsection 1 of section 39 on which self-assessed tax has been paid in full. So this is very, very important, sir. So valid return on which self-assessed tax has been paid in full. So here the tax which assessee has self-assessed on its own, that has to be paid. And we all know that we cannot file any return without payment of tax, which is assessed by the assessee himself. So normally every return which we file, it must be a valid return only. Or sir, is there any other chance that a return filed is not a valid return, sir? Can anybody say in the group, sir? Hello? Am I audible, sir? Hello?
Yes, sir, you are audible, sir.
But sir, is there, I think in my opinion, every return filed is a valid return because we cannot file any return in the GST portal without paying the payment of the tax.
Sir, maybe it could have been possible when GST 1, 2 and 3 were there.
Otherwise,
because in that time, without payment of tax, return was also allowed to be filed, but it was not considered a valid return for the purpose of matching of ITC. But now since 3B is there, wherein we cannot file the return without payment of tax. So that's why a valid return concept might have been relevant at that time, but at present, returns cannot be filed without payment of tax.
It means whatsoever return we file, that is a valid return.
Valid.
Okay, valid return. So no, I will come to the practical problems which RPG was highlighting. But before going that, I think one more important thing is very, very important here. Sir, there was a amnesty scheme also. For this section 62, besides this amendment, 120 days, giving 120 days time, earlier it was 30 days, it is 120 days time. So there was an amnesty in between. October 23, prior to October 23, amnesty scheme was in force. And this amnesty scheme, I tell you, this was authorized by 49th GST Council. So 49th GST Council, these are the minutes. of the GST Council. So here, proposal to extend time period mentioned in Section 62 of the CGST Act. So here there were two things, sir. The amendment which we are seeing of 60 plus 60, this was also authorized by this GST Council meeting only. And in this meeting, there was a scheme was brought for amnesty, giving amnesty to the this one. The issue was that this one. It was represented by some taxpayers. The taxpayer, in many cases, taxpayer filed the return after a period of 30 days of service suspension order, due to which the such suspension order are not deemed to be withdrawn, and therefore the liability created by the AO remain in books of accounts. However, as the taxpayer has already filed the returns, he has paid his liability. Therefore, the liability created by the assessment order needs to be removed from the liability register. So there was a request to extend the time limit for deemed withdrawal for the judgment. Okay. So this was there, and there was also amnesty was also sanctioned here in this, I think in this 49th meeting only. So what is the amnesty, sir? I will give you a brief amnesty. It was, this amnesty scheme was brought by notification number 6/2023 dated 31st March 23. So here they have given the option to the assessees in whose cases assessment orders were passed on or before 28th Feb 23. So this is very important date, 28th Feb 23. So 28th Feb 23. So ASMT 13 should have been issued prior to 28th Feb 23. Then they were given an option, they were given a liberty to file the return, to file return, before 30th June. Before 30th June 23, and this 30th June 23 date was further extended to 31st August 23. So now here is a case where amnesty was given to the persons in whose case assessment order were made up till 28th Feb 23 and who had filed the return by 31st August 23. Then in those cases, the orders ASMT 13 and demands were withdrawn automatically. So that was the amnesty. So this amnesty is very, very important. No. After this amnesty scheme and this favorable amendment of 120 days, now, what are the issues? Do I come to the issues? So, sir, in case the assessee files return within 15 days of GSTR 3A, then there is no chance of Section 62(1) to come into force. Okay. The other thing is that when assessee files the return within 60 days of the order ASMT 13, then also there is no issue. We have seen that ASMT 13 gets automatically withdrawn. So there is no issue. Then again, this after 60 days, but within 120 days, if assessee files the return, then, sir, There is position is not clear. They have given this additional late fee of 100 rupees for each day for delay beyond 60 days of the service of a set assessment order. What, sir? There is no mechanism in the while filing the return. While filing the return, there is no mechanism that this 100 rupees extra additional fees is charged. What we have,
Sir, I would like to add that
Sir.
in one of our case, we had filed the return after 60 days, but within 120 days. So when we filed that return after 60 days and before 120 days, the system automatically created a difference liability in payments toward demand for the liability of 100 rupees per day late fees.
Sir, this must have been done after 1st October 23.
Yes, this is recently, last year.
This is recently. Actually, earlier, earlier in I have the case where November, December 23 also.
There was no such mechanism.
There was no such mechanism.
Yes.
But sir, mechanism which you are telling, no, this with the system is demanding the late fee in the next return or in this return only.
What it does is it automatically creates a demand under liability ledger for other than return liabilities or return liabilities, and that I can pay. There is one option when I click on ledger. While after logging into my GST portal, when I click on ledger, then it comes a payment toward demand. There is an option, and in that payments toward demand, the demand is created for late fees for difference period.
But one more thing I would like to, because you have filed the return after 60 days, so get his ASFD 13 withdrawn automatically. That is the point, sir. Was it withdrawn automatically, sir?
Yes, it was withdrawn, sir. It was withdrawn.
So it means, because here also the language is like that only. So it means no GST portal has come in line with the act.
Yes.
Okay. Nowadays they have done it, because he says that deemed to have been withdrawn also. So we don't have to apply. We don't have to apply. This will be withdrawn automatically as per your case. That's a very good information you have given me, that this system is no on line with the act, provisions of the act. Okay, that's very nice of you. No, what is the way ahead basically? So, sir, judgments. Should I come to the judgments? There are judgments.
Yes, sir.
60 days applied to earlier period. No.
And sir, please leave 10 to 12 minutes for the practical issues which are being faced all across the country, and the participant would also like to share and what are the issues and how they have to be resolved.
Okay, sir. Okay. Yes, sir. I will be giving my opinion on that also, and I will be finishing my deliberation at 9:50. That's sufficient, sir?
Yes, sir.
Okay. No, sir. Here, Andhra Pradesh High Court, DB, it's a DB, sir. Here, because, 60 days period. To this 60 days period, they apply to the early period also. Because we have seen there that amnesty, there were certain cases which neither far, because, in amnesty also the benefit was given to the returns, the assessment order passed up to 28 Feb 23 only, sir. So what happened to the order passed between March 23 to October 23? Because it was 1st October 23 now that amendment came, February amendment came. So Andhra Pradesh High Court, Karnataka High Court, and Madras High Court, they have in a lot number of cases, they have held that this 60 days extended period should be given to the earlier order also, which were passed prior to 1/10/23. So that is the main crux of this thing. And one more thing, sir. One more order is there. That is a very, very important order. But that is not that clear order. But sir, here, this is the order. This is the I could not get its citation. अर्पी काइंडली आप इसको शेयर करेंगे इसकी citation कभी बाद में?
Yes, sir.
This TVL Bernard. Here also, this is the case by Madras High Court only. Okay, and here they have said that courts have held. He has written that courts. I just zoom it a bit. Visible, sir?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, देखिए. These are the lines. Courts have held that this time limit is not mandatory. Once the late return has been filed, the order making best judgment assessment is deemed to have been withdrawn. So, at least in 2 judgments of Madras High Court, this opinion has been taken. But I have not come across with any other judgment of the other high courts regarding that. Because if we can prove, if it is held or it is held by the courts that this 60 days time limit is not mandatory, then we have got a very good case in the writ court. That we will have a very good case in the writ court. I tell you how. No, sir. Conclusion is that crux. What is the crux of this? What is the crux of 62, section 62? Because I think this is a very unique provision that order passed by the assessing authority gets withdrawn automatically. This is a very unique provision, sir. This is not in any other act. So by making this provision in subsection 2, what is the main reason for bringing section 62? What is the idea behind this section 62? They simply wanted that every assessee should file the return timely. This was the only idea. And once this return has been filed by the assessee, ASMT 13 should go. No only period, this 120 days, if they have given, earlier they have given the amnesty scheme also. But this all shows that the government is very liberal, and the only purpose for bringing 62(1) and making it such a harsh was that the assessee should file their return timely. That was the only purpose. And sir, I think principle of natural justice is not being followed here, and the assessing officer is not required to follow principle of justice. This is because that subsection 2 says that this order will be deemed to be withdrawn automatically. So in my opinion, sir, if a person has filed a return after 120 days, even then relief should be given to him. The only condition will remain of 100 rupees per day late fee. That is the only condition. Now I come to the practical problem, sir. As RPG has told me, practical problem. So what is the practical problem, sir? I tell you. Supposing a return of April was not filed. April return was not filed, sir. Okay. So if April return was not filed, the ASMT 13 was issued. Agreed. ASMT 13 was issued. And assessee did not file the April return. But in the month of October, he finds that his returns are pending, and he wants to file the return of October. No, he wants to file the return of October. As per section 3910, nobody can file a return for a period unless the preceding return is filed. So that is a catch, sir. That is a catch. So for that October return, he will have to file the return of April. April, May, because once ASMT 13 is issued, the filing of return is not debarred, is not. RPG, am I correct in that, sir?
Yes, sir.
So filing of return is not debarred. So here you just see a scenario where he has filed the return from April to October, and naturally, if he has filed the return, he has paid the tax also. No, here in such cases, ASMT 13 demand for the April will also be there, and he has paid his taxes also. So it is a double jeopardy to the taxpayer. It is a double jeopardy, sir. So what is the only fault of the SST that he could not file the return within 120 days. He filed, say, in 121 days. What here, sir? This return which he has filed for the month of April after the issuance of ASMT 13. So here is a legal point, sir. Here is a very important legal point that after 3 years, as we know, that scrutiny of that return under Section 73, the notice under 73 in respect of that return can be issued, I think, roughly within a period of 36 months. Roughly. So here is a case, I think if department does not demand us the money of April, then after 3 years, after 36 months, the return which the SSC has filed deemed to be final. In my opinion, that return should have been deemed to be final, and in that scenario, the assessee can say that since the assessing officer has accepted my return filed, valid return filed for the month of April, therefore ASMD 13 should be withdrawn automatically. Otherwise, it will be double jeopardy. So with this, sir, it's 9:48, 9:49. I conclude my deliberations. No, I will request the House to raise their queries and give their opinions.
Sir, on the issue which you have raised, and this is one of the most important issues, that what happens to the tax which has already been paid by way of 3B, and there is a equal demand of, say, same amount in section 62. Now what is happening is that they very aptly you have referred to the circular where it is said that the document available on record includes the GSTR1 which has been filed and the e-invoices which have been generated as of when the order is being passed under section 62. So what is happening is that they take the data from GSTR1 or e-invoice portal and they create a demand of the same amount in section 62 by way of ASMT 13. Now post that, I file the return, say after 120 days, I file the return with equal liability, same liability. Now the question comes that whether once I filed my 3B, even after 120 days, still whether section 62 demand would stand. In my opinion, there are two scenarios we have to see. One is wherein the liability has been taken straight away from GSTR1 and has been reflected in my ASMT 13. And second is that my ASMT 13 has been passed by way of a deeming fiction by adding 10%, 20%, and that liability is not matching with my GSTR 3B. So in first case, say supposedly my one was filed at 10 lakh rupees. I filed the ASMT 13 was of say 10 lakh rupees. I filed my 3B of 10 lakh rupees, that is after 120 days. So what should we do? What we have been taking a stand is section 62 nowhere states that the amount has to be paid by way of DRC 03. It post the demand has been created in 62. It is nowhere stated that a demand has to be paid by way of DRC 03. It can also be paid by way of 3B. So to that extent, wherein I have filed my 3B and I have paid my taxes, that amount has to be adjusted against the demand created under 62 because section 62 does not creates a new charging section. It is only a assessment provision. And once my same supplies which have been reflected in one have been made part of ASMT 13 and tax on those supplies has been discharged by way of 3B, that means that amount has been paid, and there is no restriction in the statute which says that the amount has to be paid by way of DRC 03 only. It can also be paid by 3B, and the adjustment has to be made by the department. So in such cases, we have moved forward an application not of rectification, but of reduction of demand. And we have asked the officer to reduce the demand. And if he has not reduced that demand, we have filed a writ petition that there cannot be, as you have said, there cannot be a double geo party because Section 62 is not an independent charging provision. So this is first case. Second case is supposedly they have created a demand of say 12 lakh rupees by adding 20% of say B2C supplies from my e-invoice portal, and I file my 3B of say 10 lakh rupees. Now I cannot challenge that this demand of 12 lakh is not coming from the document available on record. It is coming from document available on record. So the demand is 12 lakh rupees, but at the same time I have made a payment from 3B of 10 lakh rupees. So that 10 lakh has to be adjusted. And what we can take a benefit is, if we remember last year in March 2025, there was a circular from the Department for Amnesty Scheme wherein they have said that if any demand has been paid in 3B prior to 1st of November 2024, that would also be treated as paid for the purpose of amnesty scheme. So in that we can take benefit of that circular, although the matter is yet to be decided, because in one of our case we have filed the writ petition. A matter is yet to be decided, but this is how we are dealing with in such cases. Any other views from the members? Because this is one important point which has been raised by S.K. Malhotra sir, and we all have facing across this in Section 62.
My opinion is a bit, I differ,
Yes, sir.
because in my case, he has passed AS 7013,
Yes, sir.
and I was having no tax liability in that month, so I filed the nil return. Okay. In one of the cases, there were 5 assessments of AS 7013. In 5, 3 were of the same amount and 2 were of the nil amount or zero amount. So no, what I will do, I will just write to the assessing officer that, look, I have filed the returns, so you kindly withdraw those orders. No doubt I have filed it after 120 days. Okay. So officer will give me a reply that no, I can't withdraw, you pay me the demand. And then I move to the High Court saying that the scheme of this section. What is the scheme of this section? Sir, scheme of this section, as has been fortified by your argument, that we have got 3 years time for filing the returns. 3 years time for filing the returns. So therefore, I will go to the High Court and I would say that as per the scheme of the section 62(1), it is only a mechanism to mandate, to have a mandate on the taxpayer to file the return. Okay. And once I have filed the return, the matter should end there. And if it is 120 days, because in Madras High Court, Andhra Pradesh High Court, and Karnataka High Court, all these southern high courts have already passed judgment saying that the delay should be condoned. So I think, in my opinion, High Court should entertain over this plea, sir.
Yes, sir. Any other views from the members?
Yes, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
I have got one practical issue relating to this non-filer. Actually, where this Gandhinagar gift city, wherein when we take the registration for SEZ, we need to take the GST registration immediately. But what is happening that rupee account is not open immediately. It takes 3 months to 4 months time. So by the time we are not able to file this GSTR 1 and 3B. So practically it is happening that number got cancelled every time when we got the GST registration because for want of bank account. So I think there is no provision which guard the SSC when because what is happening that GST number is compulsory and we are forced we cannot file the returns at any point of time. So there is practical difficulty and we are non-compliant from the first day itself.
Hmm.
So I don't find any such situation how we can file those returns, because as this rupee account is not opened, and without a bank account they are not allowing us to file the returns 1 or 3B. Though all the returns are nil, but most of the time the number got suspended because of non-filing of return.
That is a practical issue.
Yeah,
That is a
that's
practical issue. Yes, sir. That is a practical issue. And now since the insertion of bank account is mandatory,
yeah.
so that is a practical issue.
Mhm. So is there any solution? I don't find.
No, there is no such solution until unless your registration is continuing. So you can continue, but once it is suspended, then the issue would remain. Malhotra sir, your view, sir?
Actually, this bank account has to be compulsory. So I also don't think that there is any solution. Because, but sir, what is the problem that why bank account is not being
Because what is SEZ unit? These all are SEZ units. So SEZ unit, they are not they have to open SNR account, special non-resident account in GIFT City, and for the purpose of GST, they need to open an rupee denominated account, which is not possible to open immediately. It takes 3 to 4 months to open this account, because there are a lot of formality in SEZ units. So it is very difficult to open rupee denominated account. It takes time because there are a lot of documentation and everything. And GST has to be taken initially while registering the entity with the SEZ authority, IFSC authority. So this is a chicken and egg like situation. What is first and what is not?
basically, sir, you want an extension for updating your bank accounts, huh?
Yes, yes, yes.
Basically, that is your real problem.
Yes, yes.
And for this, sir, you should move to your assessing officer or the commissioner concerned, and I think because you is a practical difficulty, so I think you can raise the issue to the GSTN also, sir, because this
Okay.
is really a serious issue, and I think they can allow it. The like because when this time bar returns, they are allowing it now. These days, when we cancel a registration and we have to file the earlier returns, which are
Yes.
time barred. So GST portal allows that, sir, these days.
They allow, but for that we have to file manual return in that case, because number got.
That is the point, sir. So that's why they can activate certain exception to your this GST number also if you raise this issue. Okay.
Okay.
Sir, one query at this stage. Sir, is the suspension of registration for non-validation, is it system driven or officer driven, sir?
That is system driven.
System driven.
Yeah.
So automatically puts you in suspension mode with the
Yes,
show
yes,
cause
yes,
notice.
yes. Because non-filing of 3 months returns and everything.
Oh.
I think it is a 30 days period. Perhaps it's 30 days period, or I think before filing your first return, they are written like that.
So, sir, we are approaching 10 a.m. and as it has been trained, we try to finish it by 10 a.m. So, for vote of thanks, as Arupji is not there, he would have asked me to give the vote of thanks. So, I would request Annapurna Kavra ma'am to give the vote of thanks.
Thank you so much, sir. It was privilege to listen Malhotra sir, and very in-depth he has analyzed section 62. And very important point of learning is that 60 days is not a, we can read it as a mandatory or directory. That was one of the good learning I had today. And amnesty scheme notification, which he was referring from 49th council meeting, and I think 2023 notification. That was also quite interesting. And I think still there are issues with regarding to filing within that time period. And the basis of the data which the department is looking for passing this best judgment assessment, I think that is also the issue which is there around. So I think it was quite interesting, sir, and we have learned a lot with your, and thank you for your time and effort, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you,
ma'am.
sir. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, SMS. Thank you.
Thank you.